Welcome back. As mentioned earlier, exponential budget-busting increases in Obamacare premiums will hit families right in the pocketbook next year. But as Ed Berliner reports, the Obama administration insists it's a wash when it comes to your care and the cost.
If you have insurance that you like, then you will be able to keep that insurance. If you like your doctor or healthcare plan, you can keep it. If you like your healthcare plan, you can keep your healthcare plan. If you like your healthcare plan, you can keep your healthcare plan.
In light of what the Affordable Health Care Act has become to a good portion of Americans, the president might have been better served describing his health insurance plan in this fashion to the American people.
If Mr. McMurphy doesn't want to take his medication orally, I'm sure we can arrange that he can have it some other way. But I don't think you'd like it, Mr. McMurphy.
You'd like it, wouldn't you?
Well, give it to me.
That's because, like it or not, Obamacare is morphing yet again into something America wasn't promised, didn't expect, and certainly isn't happy with.
It's leaving very few options for Oregonians and Americans in general, because this is going on all over the country.
In a report released by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 89 insurers overall are leaving the marketplace. In Oregon, that number dropping from 9 to just 6, with no national carrier, and prices jumping an average of 27%. There was no data given for Washington.
It means fewer options, fewer choices, and higher rates.
So here's the latest and greatest administration shine, that the cost going up is not a big deal because federal subsidies will also rise. And according to apologists, fewer people are likely to pay the full cost after the rate increases because when you add in the federal bucks, everything balances out. The government is also trying to assuage this disaster by noting 70% of people buying insurance in the marketplace will get health care for less than $70 a month, which is true. The lowest cost plan with severely limited benefits and cashing in every dollar of government help. Hey, polish this all you want. It still maintains the odoriferous stench of a health care plan that wouldn't even work for R.P. McMurphy. J.D., it's all yours.
Thanks very much, Ed. For reaction to this news, let's welcome in the most recent Republican to serve in the United States Senate from the great state of New York, founder and managing director for Park Strategies. Senator Al D'Amato is here with us now on Newsmax Prime. Al, it is great to have you here. And when you got the news of these Obamacare premiums rising as they are, this 25% increase just on average, is there any way Hillary is going to be able to spin this in a positive fashion?
Yeah, well, JD, you know what they'll say. 20 million people now have insurance that they didn't have, and look at this wonderful thing that we're doing. Of course, what they don't say is that Medicaid has really picked up about half of them. What we have fallen victim to is people who are strangers to the truth, and they continue to spin this in a way that is just not truthful. The fact is that the deductibles, that the money that people have to lay out, the fact is you will not lose your doctor, you can keep your doctor. That is just fantasy, and it has not taken place. And it is a catastrophe that has taken place that people predicted. We have become victims to the big lie. And the media has really failed to expose it because they don't want to show that the promises made were promises broken and promises that the administration knew and that the person who designed this program knew could not be kept. It's scandalous, but people's attentions are in other areas, and the media has failed to hone in on it.
Al, Donald Trump was on the stump last night over in Tampa. He continues to say that we must repeal and replace Obamacare. Here's the way he put it from the podium last night.
In some areas, they're paying 60, 70, and 80% more than they were paying last year. It's over for Obamacare, and Hillary Clinton wants to double down and make it more expensive, and it's not going to work. I called it when it first came out. It's only getting worse.
And one place it's getting worse, Al, is that state I used to represent, Arizona. Premium increases in excess of, 110%. So with that in mind politically, over the next 2 weeks, Will we have a steady diet of the chant repeal and replace coming not only from the Trump campaign, but also from Senate and congressional Republicans all the way till Election Day?
Well, they should be raising it. They should be talking about the broken promises. They should be talking about the fact that what we have seen today is going to pale in comparison to what takes place next year. And, you know, they should point out that Bill Clinton, the former president, Bill Clinton, has come out and basically said it's a disaster. It doesn't work. And they should refer to that. They don't believe us. This is what Bill Clinton says. So, yes, it is a poignant area, but I think there are other areas that they really have to hit them on. The FBI has lost credibility, and certainly the leader of the FBI. He is a person, again, who I believe is a stranger to the truth. Anyone else would have been indicted multiple times, but Hillary Clinton obviously had the fix in, and I call it the way I see it. The news that the governor and close confidant and friend of the Clintons the governor from Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, his group and the Democratic Party there gave over $500,000 to the number 2 persons in the FBI, to his wife, to run as a state Senate candidate. And this guy rose shortly after that donation to his wife to the number 2 position in charge of the investigation. And of course he'll say, oh, I had nothing to do with it. Look, the fix was in, and they're ruining the reputation of the great organization that we all grew up loving, admiring, and talking about. And I still do admire those agents who work day and night to keep our country safe. But what they've done from the top, they have criminalized their conduct. I believe that Mr. Comey should be ashamed of himself, should resign, and that he put the fix in. If that was a legitimate investigation, she would have been indicted for multiple lies, and so would her assistants, who they gave immunity to. I've never heard of such an incredible, scandalous thing. And the media doesn't carry the fact that the number 2 guy's wife in the FBI got $500,000 to run for a state Senate position in Virginia. And who did it come from? The Clintons' great buddy, Terry McAuliffe.
Yeah, Terry McAuliffe. You'll recall our days.
You want to talk about why people are angry? They should be angry because government has failed them.
Boy, Terry McAuliffe, he was so active raising money from the Chinese back during President Bill Clinton's days in office, and now you have him back again. But the difference is, as you mentioned, Al, not a peep out of this from the corporate media. And with that at stake, the whole notion of reuniting Republicans seems to me that, yeah, Paul Ryan and Donald Trump have had their differences, but in terms of what's going on with Obamacare, there's an issue where they could, I think, find common ground and move forward, because Mr. Trump needs to have the party to move forward. And right now, for Paul Ryan's, in Paul Ryan's case, there's a new NBC News poll out saying that when it comes to trusting the future of the Republican Party, 2 out of 3 Republicans say Mr. Trump warrants that trust, not Paul Ryan. So will some of the guys on the Hill wake up and smell the coffee and rally around these issues in the final 2 weeks, Al?
They should take the issues on. They can win on the issues. Look, you know, they accuse Trump of being close to Putin. Well, let me ask you, is it true that $135 million came from the people behind giving a Russian company the ability to buy our uranium, a uranium plant here in the United States? Is it true that Hillary Clinton sat on the committee which approved this, and if her designee on that committee had voted no, that sale had to go up to the president for approval? And then the committee met a second time to permit the uranium to be exported. Again, her designee on the committee voted to permit that. So the Russians bought a uranium plant. Now, you want to talk about who's closer to Putin? And who do you think the Russians sold some of that uranium to? You want to take a guess? Iran.
Yep.
Now, that's what we should be talking about.
Al D'Amato, in your common sense, New York frame of mind, you lay out clearly and cogently a case in favor of Donald Trump and what some of our fellow Republicans should heed, and certainly every voter, in 2 weeks' time. Al, we really do appreciate your time tonight here on Newsmax Prime. Come back and see us again real soon.
Look forward to it, JD. Be good and nice to be with you.
Thank you, sir. Now, when we continue, the view from the other side of the hill, but the same side of the aisle. Republican Representative Marsha Blackburn. How can women be persuaded that Donald Trump should be their choice? We'll talk about that next on Newsmax Prime.